Um, yo, nowadays there's just so much fear and concerns and doubts around relationships. And to be honest with you, it's just getting worse and worse, you know. And I don't know. Will we ever get over this? Because I think sometimes we are just so selective in terms of what is it that we would rather commit to, whether it works or it doesn't work. Because there's a whole lot of things that we're experiencing in life, a lot. We go through a lot of challenges. We fail in school, we fail in tertiary, we fail in businesses, we fail in everything else. But we easily just give up when it comes to relationships and the failures. I just wish we could have some time, just have some time and speak particularly to the brothers, the single brothers, who are saying, now I will never date a woman who has children. I will never date, or I will never marry a woman with children. And I keep asking myself, is it maybe a fear of self? Is it insecurities? I know that many guys would actually not talk about the fact that, hey, what if the father comes back? What if the father is like this and that? Sometimes we just need to get to a point where we sit and talk about this, because trust me, guys, I'm telling you, a number of guys who are settled in their marriages, they married women with kids. I'm telling you, they married women with kids. I'm not saying women with no kids are actually not good to marry, but what I'm saying is that many guys found it easy to settle with women whom they found with kids. And your fears are actually genuine. Let us be honest with it. Your fears are genuine. It's not like you just say, I'm not gonna do that, out of nothing. Your fears are genuine. There are certain people who just don't know how to put boundaries. There are certain people who just maybe not knowing how to move on, how to let go. One of the issues that we deal with most of the time is, well, he's the father of my kids. What do you want me to do? This is one that many guys have actually opened up to me and said, but how do you deal with somebody who does that when the guy just finds his way so easily into our relationship or into our marriage? She does things with him without consulting with me. And when I try to ask, no, this is their father, or this is his or her father, and I feel like I've got nothing to say when it comes to that. Yes, your fears are genuine, but can you at least get to a point where you don't write it off completely? You don't write it off, but you just say, look, I'm going to give it a try, but I'm going to put, I'm going to engage on some principles and boundaries on how to do this. And when you manage that, fine. If you don't manage that, then you still can make a decision, say whether you want to be with this woman or you don't. I just don't understand the whole ideology of us saying, I will never do that, just because of your own fears and your concerns, or your doubts. And remember, I'm not ridiculing those concerns. You're very right. You need to be careful. You need to be careful, because we have dealt with people who still have issues with the baby daddies, and they want to get into a new relationship, but then they don't know how to create boundaries. But as a man, if you meet someone who's like that, you sit down, you talk, you engage, you just chat about, look, this is how we're going to do things. This is how we're going to do it going forward. This is how we're going to plan, how to have the kids, when, and so forth. I remember on one of our Zoom sessions with couples, we did talk on this, just expressing ourselves, in terms of what are the fears, what are the doubts, what are the concerns, and what is it that we are facing, right now. What issues are we facing with regards to marrying someone who has kids? But trust me, gentlemen, trust me, you need to be a man, you need to be a matured man in order to deal with something like this. I know those that are outside have never experienced it. Most of the time, their fear is, the guy might come, but a moment I am before, I am a more thing. So, hey, I don't want to, take a chance in that. But let me be honest with you. You just need to be wise in terms of who you choose to be. Choose wisely. And I tell you, there are a lot of ladies who are so matured. They have children, but they're so matured. They've created boundaries so much that even before you get there, they know exactly how to handle the whole situation. And also there are those that don't know how to. Perhaps when you say, I love this woman, you have to think about, how do I help her to create this type of boundaries, especially if you've got fears and insecurities. How do I help her to create boundaries around this whole issue, rather than me saying, she's got a baby, I'm not going for that. And I still stand on the fact that, look, women with kids are the best. I promise you, women with kids are the best. I've engaged with a number of them talking about these issues, and you can tell that, yes, fears are there. They're so protective over their children. But believe me, when it comes to principles and boundaries, especially against the father, they are there. These ladies are very, very mature. So you just need to choose wisely, so that you don't find yourself with someone who is still angry, who is still bitter at the baby daddies, someone who just create issues as if you are not there, someone who just want to make decisions without consulting with you, someone who, this person is still angry and bitter at the baby daddy. These are the things that you need to engage on from the onset. Have lovely conversations, have matured conversations, engage on things that matters, things that are going to contribute to how you guys are going to love one another going forward. Remember, the kids are innocent. The kids are innocent. It doesn't matter what happens between the parents. The kids are innocent. And I have seen this, that there are those ladies that are so yearning. They so yearn that at least they could find a man who can just love her and her children so much that it will help her to overcome, or, to get over the pain and the hurt that they have. Some know how to create principles and boundaries, but that doesn't automatically mean that the pain caused by the disappointment, is gone completely. But when you are a man, a matured one, when you're there and you engage with them and you counsel her and you guide her and you live in a way that does not actually make her even to doubt you, even if she does, but if you remain yourself in your good character as a man, believe me, it will blow off, because you are showing her the you that says, I am not the man that you have been with. But now imagine if now you are writing off this lady because she has a baby, she has a kid, or she has kids with somebody else, and you say, I am not going there. What are your reasons exactly? Do you think they are valid enough? Or at least you just need that element of guidance? You just need that maturity on how to deal with this whole situation. Yes, there are families that are struggling with co-parenting. They call them, blended families. They are there. But how are we handling this whole issue? How are we dealing with this whole issue of someone who's got kids? Majita, a lot of them, I know, I have spoken to them. Hey, what if the guy comes back? You know, hey, what if she still goes back to him because they've got children? You know, I don't want the guy who's just going to come and go in my house as they please. You are right. There are others who are like that, you know, but make the right choice. There are good women who are matured, and believe you me, you are not going to regret that decision that you make. I'm saying this, you know, because I was raised by a stepfather myself. You know, we were 3 children, and this guy said, these are my children, and I'm going to raise them. And look at where we are now, you know. And yes, if it was somebody, you know, he could have just said, hey, no, no, I'm not going to do that, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm saying, as much as we are exposed to the negative part of it, just understand that there is the positive side of it. The positive side which you can also be part of. A positive side that you can also at least hold on to and say, I'm going to give it a try. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm not going to write this woman off just because she has a child. It's more like you're just writing off the kids. You know, I remember somebody once said, you know, he married the woman with kids, and when the kids were calling him Papa, he would reject them. He would reject them. No, they can't call me Papa. You know, I had to call him aside and say, but why are you doing that? No, they can't call me Papa, whereas their papas are still available. They're still there. You know, yes, they are not in their lives, but they still have their fathers. And I pose, a common question, you know, then why did you marry this woman? Because these kids are with her, these kids are going to stay with her. You know, why did you marry her if that is the case? You know, and he never had an answer to that. But the perceptions that are created by fears, we have so much fears and we dwell so much on these fears that we end up depriving ourselves of an opportunity to find a good woman. Just because she has a child with someone. You know, you don't even know her story. You don't even know where she is mentally, emotionally. You know, you don't know anything. But just because she has a child, you already put a barrier and say, I'm not going to be with that type of a person. It is just so unfair. It is just so unfair. Because at the end of the day, some of us, you know, and even worse, you have a child when somewhere else. You have a child somewhere else because the relationship or the marriage did not work. Now, how would you feel if somebody says, I am not going to date that woman that you have left with a child? Think about that. You know, where does that put your child? Even worse when you're not in that child's life. Even worse. You know, but at the same time, you go and plant seeds, but at the same time, you don't want to nurture other seeds. Is it about the guy or is it about the children? Is it about the guy or is it about the woman that you're marrying? She's no longer with him. Like I said, I'm not saying your fears are not genuine. They are genuine. But that should drive you deep within yourself to have wisdom. Apply wisdom on who you choose. Trust me, I know of a whole lot of guys who married women with children and they are the happiest. They are the happiest, trust me. And I also know a whole lot of guys who married women with no children and they are miserable. So this goes both ways. But all I'm saying is, gents, do not write off these women. Do not write off these women. I really appreciate it when you say, hey, you know what? I've got these fears. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to handle it. I'm experiencing this and this and that. How can I overcome this? How can I work around this issue? Then we can engage on it. We can engage, we can talk, we can share ideas and see if it's not going to work. Don't just put a block and say, no, I am not going to do that, while you have no idea as to whether that is where you're supposed to be or not. I'm just saying, you've been dating, you know, women who are not mothers. It never worked. And then You want to come and write off women who are mothers. Does it make sense? Does it really depend on that? On whether she's a mother or she's not a mother? Does it really depend on that? No, it doesn't. It is all about how you guys work on this particular issue. So do not write off our sisters who have kids. Yes, you've got fears, you've got doubts, you've got concerns. Address those. Address those maturely like a man. Address those wisely like a man. And see if it's not going to work. And see if it's not going to work out for your good. That's all I just wanted to share. Perhaps we need to have maybe some kind of a Zoom session or something, just so as guys we can just engage, and hear the stories behind the ladies, how they behave, why they behave like that. Perhaps we just need to have that, a gathering of some kind, and let's rather just talk about this. And to be honest with you, nowadays the chances of marrying or finding someone with kids, I believe they are more than the chances of finding someone without a kid. But don't write our sisters off just because they have a kid. You're scared, you're insecure over the guy who's no longer there, who's no longer with her. You are scared, you are insecure. Unless Eve is always in the picture, I understand. Like I said, some of the reasons are actually genuine. But at the end of the day, do not let your fear stop you from finding yourself a good woman just because she has a child. Ladies, I'm your advocate today, and I so feel that perhaps the guys could understand, that you are way much more better than that, and for those that are really terrible at doing it, those that are still angry and bitter at the baby daddies, you just don't want to let go of him, and you've got a good man who's here with you, but you really don't want to respect him. You plan things with the baby daddy, you don't talk to him, and when he questions you, you are up in arms, you want to fight him and so forth. No, that just needs to stop, because that is the reason why some men says, I'm not going to be with a woman with a child. But all I'm saying is, gentlemen, let's engage our maturity. Let's engage, our goodness in this whole thing. We are good. We are loving, and we can take care of them, and we can just do that. Don't let fear distract you from finding a woman who's meant for you just because she has a baby. Don't do that. Right now, if I can tell you, I can quote by names, and I can even feel a train of the guys that I know who married women with kids, and they're the happiest. The guys who would say, you know what, sure, I don't want to lie to you. Should I have done this earlier, I would have been happy long before. I would have saved myself a great deal of heartbreaks from these women who are like that. So it's like you, as you live, you creating a judgmental pattern, that you only look at a person and say, oh, just because they're like that, I am not going to be with them. Know somebody's story. Understand their story. Get involved. Learn from them. Trust me. Learn from them, because you learn as a man. You find a woman with kids, you learn. Believe you me, you learn a lot from that experience. I know there are people who have been discouraged. Don't marry her. She has kids. What are you going to do? I don't know if you guys know Tyler Perry's movie. I think, is it Dad Ever Met Black Woman? I'm not sure. I can't remember. Where the guy is dating this lady, she's got kids, and her own families are saying, don't do it. Don't do it. And there are people who are like that. You've got your families, your friends, your pastors, everyone around you say, don't do it, she's got kids. Even worse, where now you don't have any kid, but you're, those kind of things. They are there because people want to impose their own fears and doubts and uncertainties on you. And if you had listened to them, would you be where you are today? Or maybe if you did listen to them, where are you today? How better is your life today? Ever thought about where would you be with that lady that they made you reject because she has a child? Let us just be matured about this whole thing. If you love someone, but you don't understand how to deal with certain situations, seek the knowledge. Engage with people who have been there. Find out how to overcome it. Because you love this wonderful lady. But hey, the child issue, it's a problem. It's a problem because of your own fears, your own doubts, your own uncertainties, your own ideologies, everything that you've been told or taught, it becomes a reality. Don't do that. Reject that and say, Lord, this is where, I believe this is where you have planted me. And I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to do my best. If these kids were meant to be raised by me, to be loved by me, to father them and to nurture them, Lord, grant me the wisdom, the strength, the resources to be the best father that they can ever dream of. Let me be the best man to their mother and be the best father to them. And let us be a great family. And you can do that. You can. Gents, let's engage on our fears. We need to talk about that. Let's rather engage on our fears.